Hello, we are here today on behalf of CYP Club. My name is Hanley with Wright-Patt Credit Union. CYP Club is focused on providing accessible programming and partnerships that boost careers, community, culture, and conversation. I'm joined today with Meredith Oberdick, Kristin Harper, and Vishal Patel. We will all do a brief introduction about how we are affiliated with small businesses. Go ahead and start, Meredith.
Thank you. Well, thank you first for having me here today. I'm excited to have this discussion. My name is Meredith Oberdick. I work for Wright-Patt Credit Union. My official title is Business Relationship Manager, and essentially my primary focus is to have conversations with small business owners and pair them with the right products and services to meet their unique needs. I have a consultative approach, sorry about that, and we just work together to make sure that we're attaining their goals.
Yeah, and I'm Kristin Harper, founder and CEO of Driven to Succeed LLC. We provide market research, brand strategy consulting to Fortune 500 companies and leading brands, as well as keynote speaking and training on leadership, emotional intelligence, and personal branding. I spent the first 20 years of my career in corporate America at Procter & Gamble, the Hershey Company, and most recently Cardinal Health, going from college intern to global vice president in my 30s. I took the leap of faith into full-time entrepreneurship about a year and a half ago, and I'm excited to be able to serve more businesses, help build more brands, and help people advance within their careers. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Kristin. And Vishal.
Hi, my name is Vishal Patel, and I'm the founder and CEO of Curry Up. Curry Up is a fast casual Indian restaurant that aims to bring Indian food to the general public and to squash some of the negative stereotypes about what Indian cuisine is.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you guys again for being here today and participating. My first question is actually geared toward Kristin and Vishal. Kristin, if you would like to go ahead and start, what was your motivation for starting a business?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a third generation entrepreneur. Both of my grandfathers were entrepreneurs. One was a painter, the other an attorney, and my mom has been either a sidepreneur or a full-time entrepreneur most of my life. So I had certainly my mom as an example. Really, I took that leap of faith into full-time entrepreneurship. I started my first business at the age of 14, teaching piano, and so I loved the freedom. I loved being able to make money. Providing services was something that I was good at, that I could help others with, and being able to profit from it. And so I took the leap of faith into full-time entrepreneurship because I wanted to serve more people and bring more joy and freedom in my life. So loved and have such great appreciation for the career that I had in corporate, but I saw an opportunity to do more and to serve more. And it's been an exciting journey, especially through COVID.
Sounds like it's been a part of your DNA, and you're learning more and more. I didn't even know you played the piano.
I do.
Vishal, what about you? What motivated you to start your own business?
Well, my journey to being a small business ownership has been definitely interesting. Well, as my last name is Patel, and as everyone knows, Patels become doctors. That's what we do. It's in our blood. But and I actually even went to medical school, but then I realized it wasn't for me. I loved interacting with people. I loved taking ideas that I had and trying to develop them and taking it to the next level. And how it affected the general community and the people around it. So it was natural for me to start my own business. It's something that I can't see myself doing anything else, I'll be honest. Once you're an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur. And I think that's something that entrepreneurs understand. It's in your blood. It's something that drives you, something that wakes you up. It's something that motivates you to find the next thing. Once you're done, what's the next thing that I can do? How can I grow this? How can I build it? How can I use it to make everything else better around me? And with Curry Up, it's I've noticed that the Indian population in the U.S. has been growing tremendously. As more and more Indian community members are working, the more people are getting accustomed to our culture. So they're trying cuisine, they're watching movies, they're even taking more trips to India or even learning how to speak Hindi just so they can say, hey, look, I know a little bit now. And, but cuisine-wise, almost all Indian restaurants have been mom and pop or family owned. And they haven't done a good job of training what the cuisine can be and should be for the general American population. That's why we developed Curry Up, because it's a nice segue into what Indian food can be for them or their families, especially now that so many Indians are marrying outside the culture and they're getting a different, their extended family that has a different experience, but they still want them to experience Indian cuisine, and the new family also wants to have Indian food in their diet, so this way they can feel, look, it feels a little bit more accepting.
Share it together.
Exactly. And we feel Curry Up helps them do that because it's a great introduction to what it can be for them and the new generation of American-born Indians, and like what I like to say, the new extended Indian family.
I love that. What was the preparation process like before starting Curry Up?
Our preparation process took about 3 years.
Wow.
We just going through menu development, doing market research, finding out what was needed, what wasn't needed with developing this concept. We did surveys. We did up to 5,000 different surveys asking what the general public liked about Indian cuisine, what they didn't like about it, what they felt could have been changed, or what could have been done better. And we tried to take all that information and create Curry Up around it, so we could change the negative stereotypes of what a family-owned Indian restaurant is. Usually those stereotypes are they're going to be a rundown strip mall, you're going to have bad customer service, you're going to have communication barriers, the food's going to be way too spicy, and the general lack of customer service. And we tried to look at all those issues really hard and create something that could really, you know, make a change for that. After that, I'd say the business plan. I think I went through about 17 business plans or updates. Every time I made a business plan, I asked multiple friends and families to look at it and find any hole possible. I told them, don't be nice, tear it apart. Each time they did, it made me think, oh wait, this could be done better. Wait, if this happens, what are my backups? How can I make how can my business survive if this happens or this happens or this happens? I tried to have multiple answers and multiple pivot points before I even started the business. So when something happens, I'm ready to go. I can make those changes really quickly. And you're never going to be able to think of everything, but you should have at least thought of the majority of them. And that's how I try to prepare for a Curry Up.
Some of what he said actually reminded me of some of what you do for other businesses, it sounds like now. So what was planning like for you when you were starting?
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear, Vishal, that you did all of that research. That's one of the things that many businesses, especially sole proprietors, skip over, is that research process, because it's a vulnerable process where you're truly asking for feedback, and you have to have the courage to hear even the constructive criticism. But as you mentioned, it definitely makes you better. I spent my career both managing P&Ls, so I've had the pleasure of leading brands like Crest, Oral-B, Hershey's Kisses, global iconic brands, and I've both been responsible for the P&L as well as been on innovation teams. And so that's a lot of what we did on innovation teams, and a lot of what I do now is to help businesses to uncover insights, to identify the unmet need, what are the pain points in the marketplace, because business is more than just passion. Passion alone, it will get you up and it will keep you going, but passion may not lead to profit. What leads to profit is solving an unmet need in the marketplace. And so that's what we help businesses to do, to uncover that unmet need, to translate that into products and services that ultimately yield a profit. Most innovation fails, even within corporations. It doesn't sustain after even 3 years, the majority. So you do have to have a risk tolerance for being able to take those calculated risks after you do research, as well as pivot when it's necessary. Some of the other things I did before launching the business is to identify what I'm good at. You have to have a level of expertise and proficiency to expect that you will have the credibility for people to hire you. And so getting really clear on what I'm good at and the things that I'm not good at, because no man is an island. You can't do everything with your business. And so I think we'll talk a little bit later on about the other types of people that you need to engage with your business, but certainly that competitive intelligence, engaging with your prospective customers, certainly a lot of research goes into that. And the other thing, even as it relates to businesses, is that 20% of businesses fail in the first year, small businesses. 50% fail within the first 5 years. So increase your odds by doing the research on the front end so that it will increase your odds of success on the back end.
Definitely give you some more security in the long run.
Absolutely.
Meredith, is there anything that you would add to anything that Vishal and Kristin have shared about just maybe ways to set yourself up for success?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think something to really just reiterate the points that both of these successful business owners have made. Business owners, newer business owners will often not do, that it's a detriment to them, is they don't access the free resources in their community. They don't check out their local SBDC. They don't reach out to SBA powered groups. They don't reach out to their network and ask how they got started. You know, people in your industry can often tell you about grants and things like that. We were talking right before we started about an association that Vishal belongs to, and he's talking about doing some cool things. That those people know what's happening in your industry. They know what resources are out there. You were telling me about a new program that's going to be available through the government for restaurant owners that came through this new stimulus bill. That's not something that even all your experts always know. People in your industry know those things. So I think that's really something that small business owners, newer entrepreneurs can go out and seek out those resources that are free to them. I think a lot of the times we talk about, I'm new, I don't have enough money, I can't hire a business consultant. You don't always need to hire. Sometimes it's, it's the devil you know, right? So that's what I would suggest to entrepreneurs, small business owners, people who are getting started. Get prepared, reach out to your network, know what you're worth, know what your competitive advantage is.
Well, many of our viewers may be employed right now. What advice can you give to those who may want to take that leap and either go part-time and start investing more time into their own passion to be an entrepreneur, or maybe even take the leap to full-time? We'll go ahead and start with you, Kristin.
Yeah, I would say number one is understand your company's conflict of interest policy. You have to keep the main thing, and so that would be number one. Number two, I would say, is you can do this research, you can do this preparation while you're still working full-time. You can also consider doing a pilot, so you test your proof of concept to see if there's a there, if you have that competitive advantage. And oftentimes as an entrepreneur and as a business owner, you have to pivot in order to be successful. You have to make small changes, sometimes radical changes, over time to maintain and strengthen your competitive advantage and to meet the needs that your marketplace has. So those are a few things that I would share. And certainly, unless you have the financial wherewithal to leave and to start fresh and to take a huge risk, build up your business over time so that you have that confidence around being able to drive not only revenue, but profit as well. And so that bottom line profit is critical. And I think we'll talk about some of the tools that you need in order to be able to manage your business properly. And it's more than just looking at what's in your bank account.
It's a good point, revenue versus profit. I don't think a lot of new business owners, that's probably not the first place their mind goes. It's just making money, okay.
Yeah, and you have to think about sometimes things are a hobby, not necessarily a business. And it's okay. It's okay to have a hobby. But business ownership takes on a different level, or should take on a different level of importance, of processes, because you want to be successful. And ultimately, I think it's great when you are able to scale and be sustainable as well. So those are a few things that I would say to those who are currently working.
Thank you. Vishal, I'm very curious to hear your answer now, learning that you went to medical school first and then decided, not for me, I'd rather be an entrepreneur.
Well, like you mentioned, it has to be scalable. If your business is not scalable, I'd advise probably not do it, because then it becomes a hobby. In almost any industry, the way you become profitable or way it could be a meaningful business is scalability. It's about having multiple locations for restaurants, or it's about taking your software and having it in multiple platforms, getting it to as many people as possible. It's you have to, for me, with Curry Up, when we designed it to be scalable from day one. If we didn't decide we're gonna take this into multiple locations after we built the first one. All the recipes, processes, SOPs, everything was designed to be scalable. So when we do start to grow, we're going to grow quickly because now our staff is fully trained and knows how to do it the right way from day one. And that's the most important thing. That, for us, that was at least. But if you're going to start something new, start from the ground up. Take your time, do the research. I can't stress that enough. Research is so important. And if you need to bootstrap it, if you got to work your full-time job and you have to do it on the weekends or the evenings, that's okay. Because that's when you get to know, do I really have the drive to do this? And that's where people fail, is they lose a passion for it. In the beginning, passion drives you, but can you do it 6 months after you start? Can you do it a year after? What about 3 years? Well, most businesses, when you're starting, you're not going to be profitable right off the bat. So can you go 3 years, 2 years, 3 years without being profitable? Do you have the drive for the long run? If you don't, then don't do it. Because being an entrepreneur is a grind. It will wear you down and beat you up, and you still have to get up and do it. If you're not willing to do that, then I don't recommend it for anyone.
And entrepreneurship isn't for everyone.
Yeah. I believe that.
Because of that.
I tell people all the time, I work with small business owners all the time. I don't think I want to ever own my own small business. Like, there's a lot of stress that comes with that. And I'm just going to jump in since I started talking. But I would say dipping your toe in the water, there's never anything wrong with that. When you said the word pilot, like, fireworks went off in my head. You want to know if it's for you, because entrepreneurship is not for everybody, and you may not want to work for the man, or you may decide you want to take this passion and turn it into something, but you become the CEO, the CFO, the administrative assistant. You become everybody when you start your business. And so if you want to just dip your toe in the water rather than jump in feet first to find out maybe you should have taken a few swimming lessons before you did that, I'm totally in favor of that, especially as someone who lends money. We at the credit union will often feel more confident lending a small amount of money to a new business owner for something who has a contingency plan and who has another source of income. So we see that a lot with smaller business owners. And I don't think I mentioned this before, but that's also something that I just want to circle back real quick. Taking a loan out as a brand new business owner is probably one of the worst things that you can do, and that probably sounds super crazy coming from the money lady, but you really want to have liquid reserves. So if you want to start with that runway. Can you go 2 years without being profitable? Most businesses do go 2 years without being profitable. Where's the money going to be to pay your bills, to pay your staff, all of these things, because profit is sustainability. So I have plenty of business owners that come to me and they'll say, I made blankety blank in revenues this year. And I'll say, cool, but what did you keep? So
that's what matters.
Yeah, because year over year, we really want to see that profit grow. Yeah, we want to see revenues grow. Revenues typically are going to indicate that our business is growing, but if all of a sudden your expenses have gone way up and we're not seeing that profit go up with you, what's going on? Has something in the industry changed? Has something in your business changed? These type of things. And these are the conversations that we get into when we start lending and we start having those more in-depth conversations. But I would just say there's nothing wrong with trying it out first. give it a try, see if it's for you.
Kristin, what are some things that you wish you would have known going into starting your own business?
I would say there are two things that I wish I would have known. One is around certifications. So my business was recently certified through the National Minority Supplier Development Council, and we just learned last week that we are now certified through WeBank, which is the Women's Business Enterprise Council, and both of those certifications are very relevant and credible for my target audience, which are, those Fortune 500 companies. Those organizations have such credibility and trust that it opens up a lot of doors. Earlier, Meredith talked about the power of networking, and Vishal did as well. And it really creates not only trust, but also credibility. And I wish I would have known that at the beginning, but I did find out about it relatively, within the first year of starting my business. But I wish I would have known it even sooner. And I will say that in order to get certified, you have to have your business together. You have to have a separate banking account. You cannot intermingle personal and business finances. Okay, say it again for the people in the back, right? You have to have your legal paperwork together. You have to have your profit and loss statements together. You have to have your operating documents and your declaration, your operating agreements. Identifying, even if you are for my business, we're an LLC and an S Corp from an accounting perspective, but we had to establish who is the CEO, who are the shareholders, etc. So you have to get all of those ducks in a row just to have a good business. But I appreciate it being able to go through that certification process and the access that it now provides. I'll say the second thing that I wish I would have known sooner is around pricing. Because our services are B2B, there are different audiences who may benefit from our services. So an aspiring entrepreneur, although I do provide periodic services to aspiring entrepreneurs, I'm not going to charge them, nor can they afford the same price that a company or a corporation would be able to pay for. Even when it comes to speaking around leadership and emotional intelligence, a nonprofit organization doesn't have the same capacity as a corporation does. So I wish I would have done a little bit more research on target and segmentation, customer segmentation, and then what is standard and or acceptable for that audience.
That's great advice. Excellent advice. According to census data, 73% of businesses are sole proprietors. With that said, no man or woman is an island. The most successful businesses engage other personal resources, I should say, some advisory roles. What entrepreneurs or what other resources have you used to be successful as an entrepreneur?
I would definitely say get in touch with your local startup community. Because before I started this, my business, I reached out to a lot of different entrepreneurs, a lot of different people in the startup community. Even if it's not in your field, you could learn something from them. Go to startup meetings, go to lectures, go online, try to find some successes to starting a business, some pitfalls to starting a business. Just know what you're getting yourself into. And after you've done that, find advisors or mentors in your local community, other restaurant owners or business owners. Most entrepreneurs are extremely happy and willing to talk to you about their dreams, how they got started, but you have to you have to reach out to them. And don't take them for granted. Their time is important. Don't waste their time. Come prepared and be ready to ask them serious questions. Don't just beat around the bush. Because when they see that you're engaged and you're in this for real, they're going to be a lot more open. They're going to be a lot more willing to help you. And if you have the opportunity, most cities have something called SCORE, and it's by the SBA. It's with retired executives from large industries that are volunteering their time to give advice and counseling and mentorship to new business owners. I'd highly recommend getting in touch with them, talk to them. They could help you from everything from how to market to being leaders to production or efficiency, anything and everything, they can find a mentor for you if you're willing to ask and look.
What about you, Kristin?
Yeah, everything that you said, I would also say an accountant, an attorney. You need a banker. You need to be able to talk to people who are in your industry, people who are in adjacent industries. You also want to talk to your prospective buyers. Really important, because you can't understand what those unmet needs are if you're not talking to the people you ultimately want to sell to. You need to have that support system, that counsel, those mentors, those friends, those people who are the ones who are very critical, those who are the dreamers, and those who are creative and innovative. You want to have that safe space where you can bounce an idea off of someone, without any shame and or a challenge that you may be facing. So it's important to have a really strong circle so that you can fill in those gaps where you're not an expert, and you will not be an expert at everything. And so whether you're a sole proprietor or whether you have people on your team, as I do, it's important to engage experts so that you have the greatest odds of success.
Meredith, you touched on having a banking relationship. Can you share with us why, from your perspective, it's really important to have a good relationship as a small business?
Yeah, for sure. And that's what I do, right? So in my perspective, that's part of your toolkit. That's part of being prepared, is having that banking relationship, because the banking relationship is there for you, just like the CPA and the attorney. I call that your dream team. That's there for you in an emergency. It's there for you in your day-to-day, and it's there for you during the exciting stuff, when you're getting ready to scale up, when you're getting ready to ask for the loan, when you need a new product or service because you've grown and you don't currently have something that's working for you. I'm thinking things like merchant services or any type of fancy online thing that you need to pay vendors or whatever it is. There's all kinds of products and services in the banking world that make your life easier as a business owner, right? And they may be of no cost to you or little cost to you, but if you're not asking those questions, if you don't have that relationship with your banker, they may not be asking you those questions, right? So during pandemic time, PPP, I won't talk too much about that, but the people who got served first were the people who had relationships with their banker. They called us, we knew them, their stuff was in. And the people who got served most efficiently were those who had a CPA, who already had all their documents ready to go. So I think, it's really about knowing who's going to be there for you when things go bad and you need somebody to talk to about it, and you need someone to help you, and things are awesome and you're ready to take the next step. And we need those people in our day-to-day, so when those things happen, we are prepared.
I'll also mention one other thing, Upwork. Upwork is a global crowdsourcing platform where you can find freelancers for all different types of small projects or even longer term support. So Upwork.com is a great resource.
Never heard of that.
Check it out.
Thank you.
The SBDC in Columbus and ECDI, those are things we've talked about offline, but those are great places for brand new business owners to start as well, if you're just talking about trying to find resources. And I can't stress enough the support system that Kristin was talking about. I once met this woman business owner, and she called it her board of directors. She just had 5 girlfriends that were also entrepreneurs. She'd run ideas by them, and they would be like, yes, no, maybe, but, and they would take their vote. And they were her support system for her business. And I always thought that was something really unique and needed.
There's one thing that I will mention where most people actually look over. Go to the city you want to start your business in. They could provide you grants, tax credit, or even city loans to start your business. That could turn into grants over a period of time if you're still in operation. That's a good way of getting access to money outside of the banking.
Yeah.
And it's good for the city because now the city is investing into itself. And it's a great way to grow its, daytime workforce too. So definitely talk to your local city, see what type of programs they have in grants or city-sponsored loans.
Thank you guys for sharing those tips and resources. We are cutting down low on time, so I would like to take a minute to thank Crimson Cup Innovation Lab for hosting us here in their beautiful space. And then again, we are here on behalf of CYP Club, that's Columbus Young Professionals, and you can give them a follow on any of the social platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The handle is @CYP Club. Thank you all so much for all of your insight and wisdom and time, especially. I know you guys are busy being entrepreneurs, so I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bailey.
Thank you.